No, but let me share it on NDC
Yes,
page.
yes, yes.
So in exactly 1 minute, you could go and start. Exactly 1 minute. Thirty seconds. 30 seconds. Huh?
Excuse me, you have Vision 75 video by chance?
No.
No. All right. Let me see what color language you have connection here.
Oh, NDC.
Your connection, that data.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no old.
Nick. Nick. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Could I have your attention, please? Could I have your attention, please? All those at the back, please take your seat. We're about to start officially. We have ample seats to the front, in the front row of tables, so you can make your way up here. On behalf of the NDC New York chapter, I welcome you to this evening's town hall, and we thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I see your interest in our country, Grenada, Carriacou, and Martinique. Just last night, we had our chapter elections to elect an executive to run the chapter for the next couple of years. And we have among ourselves here the executive members. I'll call it random. I see our assistant treasurer, Ms. Lynn Alexander. One of our floor members, Ms. Marisol Joseph. Another floor member, Ms. Estella Charles. In the back, we have our treasurer, Mr. Peter Cox. Another floor member in the back, Sister Helen Lewis. Stand up, stand up. Good to see you, right? And our PRO running around, Brother Michael Roberts, right here. Right, our secretary, Sister Amanda Taylor, and who else is present? I know our deputy chair. Right, another floor member, Sister Sharon Dwyer. Where is she? In the kitchen, yeah. Some of us like to be in the kitchen, entertaining and serving. So there goes Sister Sharon. The deputy chair, Sister Denise Roberts, is not feeling top. She worked so hard yesterday, so she wasn't able to make it. She has to stay and make sure that all the pains go away. And our deputy PRO is away. He does have that to schedule this events for the weekend at a time when he was supposed to be away. Did I miss anyone? Oh, our assistant secretary, Sister Bernadette Lyons, is hanging out somewhere in Granville right now. Good for her. Yes, our deputy PRO is Brother Cecil Delphon. He's on vacation. Yeah. And I think we covered everyone. You're all first. Oh, sorry, yes. My name is Nick Cox. I'm the chair of the NDC New York chapter. So we welcome you one and all. This evening, we have present with us two members from the National Executive in Grenada, our General Secretary, Brother Andy Williams. Also, the MP for the Great South, as we call it. Give another round of applause for the Great South. And our Member of Parliament for St. George's Northeast, Brother Ron Redhead. Okay. Because they came up to participate in the elections and meet with us as they started the executive, they decided just yesterday, just before noon, that it was a good idea to take this opportunity to meet with the general public. That's why we just got this message that late that we're gathering here today. So, without further ado, since it's already past 6:30, we ask Brother Ron Redhead to come and address you all. Brother Redhead, a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Brother Nick, newly minted chairman of the NDC New York chapter. I want to start off first by recognizing the fact that this meeting in particular was planned on short notice, as short as I am. And we had to decide essentially whether we would leave New York, as we did last year when Hurricane Beryl came knocking on the doors of Carriacou and Petit-Martinique, and not have a town hall. And we came up for the government town hall, we didn't get to do it. But today, we want to, as they would say back home, start off on a good foot with the year. So in visiting for the chapter elections, we thought it very important to also do this engagement with you and to have that ability to have a question and answer segment. Today in particular, we want to spend some time speaking to you on the budget. Many of you, in terms of your own experience, would have understood the budget, the process, etc., etc. But we must never take it for granted that the engagement must never underscore its importance. And I say this because oftentimes leaders do stuff, but the question is why? The question is, what do we hope to achieve? What do we believe we should achieve in terms of the grand development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique? And so the budget discussion, while the budget was held a few weeks ago, the budget discussion must continue because it is essentially a budget that is not just for now, but the future. So you could understand it from that aspect. So as mentioned, I want to spend some time now talking to that question and to say to you that today we stand at a threshold of a new era, a future of limitless potential, unity, and innovation to propel us forward. Imagine a Grenada where every citizen thrives, business flourishes, and our communities are built and by the generations to come. The 2025 budget is not just a document, but a covenant of transformation. And it captures the essence of the transition from the old to the new, breaking the chain of the past and embracing progressive vision of the future. This evening, I want to speak to you about the budget theme in particular and narrow it down to the question of Vision 75. So Grenada, ladies and gentlemen, now has a plan, but most importantly, there is now a clear roadmap on how that plan will be laid out and implemented throughout the length and breadth of Carriacou, Petit-Martinique, and Grenada. And it's important that we put that into context and perspective, because oftentimes anybody could create a plan, anybody could come up with aspects of a vision. That's very easy to do. But the question is, can we implement it? Do we have the capacity? Can we move the things that we need to do in place to be able to get that functioning? And that is the most important question, and we hope that our discussions this evening could answer as we go along. So we must confront today's challenges head on. And this is important if we are to realize that future. Our economy, though resilient, demands diversification to break free from dependency and promote self-sufficiency and self-reliance. Our healthcare and education systems require modernization to empower people. Our infrastructure needs revitalization to connect communities and drive the business activity and commerce that we need to push Grenada's economy forward. And if we ought to do anything significant in Grenada, if we're talking about factories, if we're talking about building out those structures and infrastructure and buildings, we must address our high energy costs and the concerns around the regulatory framework. So we're going to discuss a little about that from my vantage point. I wanted to play a video for you, but in the absence of not having the video, we will move on. I am certain that many of you would have seen Vision 75 video sometime last year or year before, right? The government was deliberate in terms of putting that forward or together so that people could understand where we are going. So I'm going to discuss a few areas, namely the economic outlook in Grenada for 2025, healthcare, education, housing, and renewable energy. Today, Grenada's economic outlook in 2025 remains strong and is growing. The GDP is estimated at a positive 4.1%, notwithstanding the passage last year of Hurricane Beryl. Unemployment is at 12%, and the goal of this NDC administration is to see Grenada achieve a single-digit unemployment rate. We don't know when we're going to get there, but ladies and gentlemen, that is our goal at this present moment. The healthcare situation in Grenada is indeed not where it ought to be. And we must say it bluntly, like the Minister of Health has said, we are not satisfied. But in saying we are not satisfied doesn't mean that we're not going to do anything about it. It means that coming into the situation, seeing the state to which our healthcare is, we must do something about it. We can't sweep it under the carpet, and we can't try to engage only in blaming past and looking for a reason why it is not good. We have to do something about it now. And so the government is taking steps to modernize and to efficiently, keywords, manage Grenada's healthcare delivery system. So on the whole question of national health insurance, on the whole question of a new teaching hospital, these are the things that we have been doing. As many of you would appreciate, we have started the process of gathering the data. And the hospital, it just slipped my mind right now. Let me see if some of you are listening to Grenada. The government of Grenada has partnered with, excellent. All working. So the government partnered with Mount Sinai. And so that assessment, the initial assessment of the health sector, has been completed. So we are satisfied that while we know we need to make some very strong decisions, they must not be made on the basis of emotionalism and on the basis of what this person says versus what that person says. It must be made on the basis of data and information. So I'm certain you would agree with that. So that's where we're going in terms of how we are going to tackle the healthcare crisis that we have. The other thing is that the government has been able to put forward a management team, because like many healthcare systems throughout the Caribbean and the region, the issue is not so much of the availability of nurses and doctors, but a nurse and a doctor is not a manager. So the problem with our healthcare delivery system is a lack of genuine management. Now, crisis presents two things. One, you'd have an opportunity to succeed, or you would have an opportunity to fail. And so if we dwell only on what the difficulties are in terms of failure, we will not see the opportunity to succeed. So while we need to fix the loophole of our nurses leaving rapidly, we also need to fix the loophole of the management of the healthcare system. So that's the other area and aspect that we see. The other area is that we have already secured the lands for what is known as, let me see if you're all listening to Grenada again, Project Excellent. And now that is going to be revolutionary. It's important because when we talk about healthcare, the element of the infrastructure, the element of the human resource, and also the element of what kind of healthcare is applicable to Grenada is critical. And that's why we invested so much with the discussions with Mount Sinai. So we know now where we need to go. We know the capacity we need from the infrastructure standpoint, and we must now know how we will use and build the human resource capacity to get the outcome that we desire. So that is key. The second area is the question, or rather the third area is the question of education. So the goal of the administration is to modernize the education system and ensure that it is diverse and accessible to Grenadians both home and abroad. We need to understand just how important the education is in terms of eradicating poverty. When we talk about its accessibility, what we did was to introduce the question of free tuition. Free tuition is only one step to our goal of achieving free education. And this is outlined in Vision 75. And it's important that we talk about that because, let's face it, many of you received scholarships. Some of you went all over the world, studied. And then after studying, come back home to Grenada, some of you may have been bonded. They can't pay you for the amount of years that you put in and the sacrifices. And so oftentimes when we give the scholarships, the importance of those scholarships that we are giving, the importance of the investments that we are making in education should be so well thought out that it is aligning with the job market that we need. We can't give a man a scholarship, let's say, for example, to build a podium, and we need that back home in Grenada. Then it doesn't make any sense. I'm certain you agree with me on that. So we need to be deliberate. We need to be intentional in terms of the curriculum that we want to invest in from an education standpoint. And we need to ensure that the people that we are turning out, that they are going to be productively engaged back into the Grenadian economy. So that is key in terms of how we see the education system. The other area I want to touch on briefly is the question of housing. The administration, ladies and gentlemen, is keen on ensuring that housing in Grenada becomes affordable and is constructed resilient to the elements. Now, many of you would have heard about Project 500. This is going well. We expect to complete the 7 or so models of Project 500, utilizing, and a key thing to be able to reduce the cost of the home is that of the materials used to construct the homes. Many of you in New York know about different materials that are used for the homes. And so we honestly believe that as Grenadians, you would be able to contribute in terms of informing government as to what we need to do back home to be able to build resilient homes, but to ensure that we use materials that are cheaper so that the cost of homes or constructing a home in Grenada could reduce significantly, and an ordinary man or woman, youth or senior, could be able to afford a home. Because there's another issue and side to housing in Grenada, and that is the question of rent. That is something that we have to discuss. And the final area, briefly, as I conclude, is renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, we aim to diversify the sources and the supply of energy, and we believe it will help to drive the cost down. So it's not just about announcing that we find oil and gas, but as Brother Naz said last town hall, it is to determine if we have it, how do we exploit that resource to benefit the nation, and then at the same time, manage our own selves, not to become as how larger Caribbean territories have become with their oil and gas and producing and emitting the carbon, but to to ensure that we are responsible as a nation and bridge the finding or discovery, if it is there, of that oil, and bridging it, with renewable energy. So the government in this budget will be investing in 2 projects. Let me just read it out for you so that you get an understanding. So there is a geothermal project for renewable energy right now ongoing in the lovely constituency of St. John in Grenada. I'm certain not many of you know about that. We are allocating $3.6 million towards ensuring that this becomes a reality. Now, the thing with these investments is that they take a long time to materialize. And so when we talk about having patience, this is the basis to which we speak. It's not to say that we are just going to go into government and be able to do everything immediately. Do this immediately. Some aspects we can implement. The pension, in terms of the backlog, the bi-monthly, in terms of workers' rights, etc. But there are other aspects that we have to take some time out to build and to ensure that when it is built, it is done in a way that everybody can benefit, not just the now or the present, but certainly and most importantly for the future. And the other area is that we are going to be doing some solar upgrades. The Limle solar PV plant in Carriacou was severely damaged after Hurricane Beryl, and the government is allocating at least $1.6 million to be able to restore that. There is another project. Brother Cox is clapping. Kakabawe for Kakabawe. So yes, give him a round of applause for that. And so the other area now is to ensure that our international airport, MBIA, Morris Bishop International Airport, is going to be fully outfitted with solar panels. This will significantly reduce the cost of energy down at the airport. And if you heard earlier on, as I come to a close, the ability of Grenada to be able to, or the capacity, of our energy facility to be able to generate the megawatts to push development in the country is severely limited. And so when we talk about renewable energy, the need to diversify the energy source is probably the #1 aspect that will be able to help to drive economic activity. Because if we get rid of the dependence of what we have currently and diversify that, we will be able to do so much more. The laboratories, the factories, the things that we need to roll out, even our schools, the General Hospital, the new teaching hospital, even hotels, the investment there, that is being stymied because we do not have the capacity to generate sufficient megawatts of energy to power it. And so when we talk about Vision 75, it seeks, ladies and gentlemen, to address those concerns. So that's where we are going with the whole question of our vision. Of course, there are more, but in the interest of time, I'm going to stop here. We will certainly take questions, and we look forward to a fruitful evening of debate, discussions, and so that we can continue to formulate good ideas to help benefit Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Ron Redhead, Member of Parliament for St. George's Northeast. I suspect that you digested what he has said, and you're more armed to understanding what's happening in Grenada, to understand how you can participate in helping in the development. So another round of applause for Brother Ron. Our next presenter, and you remember there will be a chance to answer questions at the end. Our next presenter is Brother Andy Williams, who is the Member of Parliament for the Great South, officially known as St. George's South. He's also the Minister of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. Yes, the one who is responsible for making sure that things do happen as they're supposed to be in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. So a round of applause for that. So we welcome to the podium Brother Andy Williams.
Thank you very much, Brother Cox. And good evening to everyone. Brother Cox, again, you tell me last night the chapter was vibrant. You tell me when I come here tonight and I say good evening, I will get a warm, big good evening. Good evening to everyone. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate the NDC New York chapter on a successful election. Let's give them a round of applause. And this afternoon, I got to meet the new executive, and it was a wonderful meeting. We were able to highlight some areas on the way forward and how we can move forward in a more collective unit and with purpose. And in anything you do, you have to do it with purpose. That's the only way you will get true results. And Mr. Cox and the new executive, I have the utmost confidence in you in moving this chapter forward. The New York chapter is the most vibrant chapter and is the one that everyone look up to. So it's important for you to lead by example, and I trust you will do just that. But already you spoke about the unemployment rate in Grenada, and you are correct. The last survey we did, the rate was about 12%. But I could tell you, I could bet you that the rate is already in single digits. Why? Because we cannot get workers. Let me repeat. We cannot get workers. We have Carriacou to build back, and the reason why it's taking a little time is because we cannot get workers. We have St. Patrick's to build back after Hurricane Beryl, and the reason why it's taking so long is because we cannot get workers. So when you hear some playing games politically, telling you about Grenada hard, it's a lie. If you're not working in Grenada, it's because you don't want work. What we have done, what I have done, I've gone to the blocks, to the guys who are smoking and drinking on the block, take them out. And some of them are now painters. They have their little company, and they are working now, hiring people to feed themselves, feed their families, and also people who are looking for employment. So we are on the way up. And when you see these young guys from the Limes and Granans Valley, they're coming out and actually working, not begging, working. And if the screen was up, I would show you some of the work that they are doing in Grenada. As a matter of fact, after this meeting, I have a nice picture to show you. Ron and I was looking at it last night, and they were working on some house, and they paint and everything. And the job was just so magnificent. You know, we will come down on these guys and saying that they are lazy and all these things. But sometimes, if the system doesn't provide a way for them, they will fall along the wayside. And it's easy for us to get caught up in the politics and to tear down one another. So NDC trying to tear down NMP, NMP trying to tear down NDC. And what's happening to the country? What's happening to our youth? You know, and sometimes I was making a point today that power is not about saying that you have the power. The more power you have, is the more you have to serve. Right? The more power you have, is the more responsibility you have to serve. And the more responsibility you have, as in politics, to your people. The last time we were here to do a town hall was in June. See you on laughing. But when we left Grenada, I think we left Grenada on the Friday, and we saw some little bad weather. By the Saturday, we had a hurricane, from bad weather to hurricane. On the Sunday, coming straight out Grenada. Tevin got so scared. Tevin left us in the hotel where we called Tevin, where they in Grenada on a boat going to Carriacou. And we were still at the hotel. After Beryl, we were so concerned that we wanted to go to get out. We wanted to charter a flight for $50,000 US dollars to go back to Grenada, but it just wasn't viable. And we got back on the Tuesday. And I remember after going back, we were able to mobilize people coming out to St. Patrick's and Carriacou to do the cleanup and so. Because sometimes when you have a natural disaster like that, the best thing to do is to try to get rid of the memories. So we had the Osprey going to Carriacou every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and people were coming out volunteering, coming out to help in the efforts to clean up. And I remember once upon a time we went by plane, my ministry. And on our way back, I remember vividly, I was sitting at the airport in Carriacou. And after witnessing the devastation that the storm had left in its wake, I was feeling rather despair. And I thought, how can we build back in a better manner? Build back in a way that the same thing would not repeat itself. And to me, like as if it was fate, I was right there with an architect, a guy who would draw, plan and so. And I had a thought in my head for a long time. And I said to him, can we build a structure where you can have the concrete frame and you can board it up? So the concrete frame provides the strength, and the board, rubber and spring, is a little cheaper. So we can mix the strength with the cost and get something good. He like, Minister, I want to try. By the next day, he gave me a design. And when I saw it, I said, this will be called Project Build Back Better. It was right there in that moment that a concept of Build Back Better was born. We envisioned a structure that combined the warmth and familiarity of a boathouse with the strength and resilience of a concrete frame. We proposed a parapet roof that would make it hurricane resistant, one that would protect families when the winds came howling. And we knew it wouldn't be easy, but we also knew it was necessary. And here today, we have completed, or near completion, I'm talking about from October, because that's when we finished the first pilot, and we are in March. We have completed over 130 Build Back Better houses for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. But that's not all. We have also been able to repair over 100 homes for families who are affected by Hurricane Beryl. And through Build Back Better, we have created more than just homes. We have created opportunities. Over 75 contractors, including builders, painters, plumbers, and electricians, have been employed and given a chance to work, contribute, and support their families. But more than that, we have given them an opportunity to grow. So what we did, if you have a contractor building the house, he was not the one doing the plumbing. And the one doing the plumbing is not the one doing the painting. And the one doing the painting is not the one doing the electrical work on the house. In that way, we provided work for 4 different contractors on one house. And that was done intentionally so that we can create employment for our people. And notice, we did not go outside and bring in people with all kind of different methods to do the work. We use local firms, local people to bring benefit to our own people. But it didn't stop there. What we did is that we know that sometimes construction workers and fishermen, they work hard. I always say, if a fisherman tell you a pound of fish is $10, pay him for it. Because they may go on the side and spend about 2 weeks and so on, see and coming back. I can't do that. Construction workers, they are known for, let me see how much women you have inside here. They're known for when they get paid, they go by 10 if you man, all the money gone. But what we did is that we worked with our local contractors. We worked with our financial institutions. And every one of them who got a contract, you're able to sign them up with a financial institution. So the contract went through the institution. What we did also is that the institution provided a savings for them. So when the money passed through, some of it would have gone to a saving. But also, we are helping them to build themselves, letting the money pass through the institution. So later on, when they want to grow, they have no problem. You see, if you do your business cash, the bank has no records, no trace. If you pass it through the bank, then you have record and they have trace. So it's not just about building back the walls, a board. It's about building people. And that's what we are focused on. So the Build Back Better is not just about construction. It's about rebuilding lives, creating jobs, and providing a brighter future for all of us. It's about resilience. It's about strength. And most importantly, it's about community. As we move forward, we continue to face challenges. But with each challenge, we also find new opportunities. And together, we will keep building back stronger, more resilient, and more united than ever before. Also, besides homes, what was affected again was farmers. And as we all remember, on July 1st, Beryl brought the impact that left many of our farmers and fisher folks struggling. The damage was real. And it was heart-wrenching to see so many of our people affected. But just like in the past, we stood tall and united. We began the journey of recovery together. The government of Grenada wasted no time, stepping in to assist who needed it most. We allocated $32.4 million to provide much needed support to our farmers and fisher folks. Let me give you this in context. The budget for 2025 is $32 million when it comes to agriculture. After Beryl, we put in the hands of farmers $32 million. So in essence, we put the whole 2025 budget in agriculture into the hands of farmers after Beryl. Tell me this is not a government that cares about the farmers. Looking ahead, we are committed to making sure that agriculture is not just about recovery. It's about thriving. So in the 2025 budget, we have allocated $32 million to support and grow the agriculture sector. This is a significant investment because we believe that agriculture is not just the backbone of our economy, it is the lifeblood of our economy. Our farmers are the heartbeat of Grenada, and we will continue to ensure that they have resources and tools needed to succeed, to flourish, and to continue feeding our nation. And speaking about striving, let's talk about the Marable Tissue Laboratory. Just last Friday, yesterday, we proudly opened the state-of-the-art facility. And this isn't just a building with walls and windows. It is a game changer. It is a way to ensure that we reduce the 90% of the food that we currently import. Folks, we import approximately 90% of our food. But we are no longer relying on what comes from overseas. We are setting ourselves up to grow of what we eat at home. And that is why we launched the Maribo Tissue Laboratory. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, or back home might be thinking, well, Minister, does it mean that I cannot get my snacks and so from overseas again? Right? I say, don't worry. While we are focusing on local food production, we won't be taking away the treats. However, we will be making sure that we are less dependent on what's coming from abroad and that we can feed ourselves in a sustainable manner, no matter what happens in the world. And it doesn't stop there. We are working closely with the private sector to promote agro-processing, transforming our raw materials and products into finished goods, creating jobs and adding value to our produce. Imagine the possibilities, I tell you. The sky will be the limit if we can together as a country achieve this. Now, let's shift gears for a minute. Because in Grenada, our connection to the sea is just as important as our connection to the land. In fact, our geographical space is more than 10 times larger on the sea than on land. So it's only fitting that we now have a dedicated ministry of blue economy and marine resources. And thankful for the vision of our Prime Minister. I'm excited to announce that we have already allocated over $6 million to this new ministry. Why? Because we have to take our marine environment seriously. Our oceans and seas are our future. Whether it's fishing, tourism, or new industries like marine biotechnology. We need to protect our waters and use them responsibly for generations to come. And here's the thing. The more we protect our seas, the more we fish, develop, and strive. But we can't do that if we don't put in the effort to secure and protect these invaluable resources. As we look to the future, let's remember that we are not just building what was lost. We are building something stronger, smarter, and more sustainable. And every step we take, whether it's in agriculture, agro-processing, marine resources, is a step toward a better, more prosperous Grenada for all. Brothers and sisters, Grenada has always been known for its natural beauty, rich culture, and warm hospitality. And it's no surprise that tourism continues to be a vital part of our economy. Today, I'm proud to announce that the government of Grenada is investing over $37 million in the tourism sector. This investment is not just a number. It's a clear reflection of our commitment to building a sustainable, vibrant, and world-class tourism industry that can benefit all Grenadians. Part of this investment will go into community tourism, which focuses on ensuring that our local communities are not just participants in tourism, but active contributors to it. We want to ensure that tourism benefits all of Grenada. From the beaches to the mountains, from the cities to the rural villages. This will empower local entrepreneurs, create jobs, and spread the benefits of tourism across the entire country. Community tourism is about creating authentic, cultural, rich experiences for our visitors, while ensuring that our locals are in the economic benefits. By supporting and showcasing the diversity of Grenada, we can ensure that tourism strives, not just in the big resorts, but in every corner of our nation. In addition to community tourism, we are also focusing on enhancing our national heritage and natural attractions. National parks and other key sites are being upgraded to improve visitor experiences and preserve our environment. Our National Heroes Park and National Art Gallery will receive significant enhancements, ensuring that these historical and cultural landmarks are not only preserved for future generations, but also provide a space where both local and visitors can experience the richness of our history and art. These are not just buildings or open spaces. They are part of our identity, our legacy. And through these upgrades, we will ensure that these sites serve as educational, cultural, and tourist attractions that celebrate the stories and achievements of Grenada's heroes. And let's not forget the hotel sector. We have seen consistent growth from 2022 to present, with hotels across the island reporting higher occupancy rates increased by visitors' interest. This is a direct reflection on the work we have been doing to improve the tourism infrastructure and ensure that Grenada is not only a destination of choice, but a destination people return to again and again. The growth in our hotel sector is proof that we are on the right track. More visitors are coming to Grenada to experience our culture, our people, and our beautiful landscapes. And more hotels are seeing success because of it. This growth means that more jobs, more businesses thriving, and a stronger economy for Grenada. I want to take the time to thank every one of you. Yes, you contribute also in the diaspora, our local communities, our tourism operators, Junior, and all those who work tirelessly to make Grenada the special place it is. Your dedication, your warmth, and your hospitality are the reasons that our tourism industry continues to strive. The future of Grenada tourism is bright, and together we will continue to build a tourism sector that benefits everyone, while keeping our island's beauty and the spirit intact for future generations. Brothers and sisters, I stand before you today to share the government's commitment to the future of our beautiful island of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. These islands are not just an integral part of our nation. They are the home to our families, our traditions, our culture. That is why in the upcoming year, in 2025, we are making a significant investment in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And I'm talking about over $44 million. This will help to strengthen the infrastructure, support development, and improve the quality of life for all who call these islands home, like Brother Cox. We understand that the housing sector plays a crucial role in the stability and well-being of our citizens. That is why we have allocated $1 million to the housing repair program in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. This funding will support families whose homes were affected by beryl, ensuring they have safe, comfortable, resilient homes. The program will provide direct assistance to those in need and empower families to rebuild and recover, making sure they can enjoy a sense of security in their own homes. In addition to housing, we recognize that good infrastructure is key to the economic and social development of our islands. That is why we have set aside $4 million for road construction in Carriacou and PD Martinique. Our roads are the lifeblood of our islands. They connect families, businesses, health centers to add. This investment will repair, improve, and modernize key roadways, ensuring smoother travel, better connectivity, and safer transportation for everyone. We all remember the challenges brought by Hurricane Beryl and how it left a trail of destruction across the islands. To continue the recovery efforts, we are allocating an additional $9 million specifically for Hurricane Beryl repairs in the islands of Carriacou and PD Martinique. These funds will go towards rebuilding essential infrastructure, restoring critical services, and supporting our communities as they fully recover. We are committed to ensuring that Carriacou and PD Martinique are not only restored, but are stronger and more resilient in the face of future challenges. But our vision for Carriacou and PD Martinique is not just about recovery. It's about building for the future. We have several exciting transformative projects lined up for 2025, all designed to enhance the island's economy, infrastructure, and cultural heritage. Let me name a few. The Paradise Beach Enhancement Project will revitalize one of our most beautiful natural treasures, transforming it into a premier tourist destination that will bring new opportunities for local businesses and create jobs in the hospitality sector. The Hillsborough Development Project is designed to modernize the beauty of the capital of Carriacou, improving infrastructure, public spaces, and services to ensure that Hillsborough remains a vibrant and attractive place, both for residents and visitors. The Bel Air Heritage Site Development Project will preserve and showcase our rich history and culture, turning Bel Air into a place of education, tourism, and pride for the people of Carriacou and PD Martinique. The Night Landing Project will enhance our airport infrastructure, enabling safe landings and improving accessibility to the islands. The Limley Farm Project, the Windward Fish Center, will support our fisher folk by providing a dedicated space for fishing activities, processing, and distribution, helping to strengthen the fishing industry and improve livelihoods for families in that community. These projects, along with other important initiatives, are all part of our holistic vision to ensure that Carriacou and PD Martinique flourish economically, socially, and culturally. By investing in these islands, the people, infrastructure, and industries, we are creating a foundation for sustainable growth and a prosperous future. The government of Grenada is committed to ensuring that no part of our nation is left behind. With over $44 million invested in Carriacou and PD Martinique for 2025, we are sending a clear message. We are building the future together. The investments we are making today will create jobs, improve living conditions, enhance infrastructure, and strengthen our communities. But it's not just about the projects or the money. It's about empowering the people of Carriacou and PD Martinique, giving them the tools they need to strive, and building a foundation for a brighter future for generations to come. Together, we will continue to move forward, stronger, united, and focused on building a better Grenada. One island, one people, one future. Let me highlight some of the achievements our government made in 2024. Just a few. Or let me just say in the 2.5 years that we've been in office, just over 2.5 years. I remember before elections, the other side was saying that if they pay the pension, the country will go bankrupt. Our social services will be cut. And kumbaya, kumbaya, kumbaya. We came into office and we paid the pension. And sometimes I hear them saying that they left us a pregnant treasury. I could tell them that the treasury is stronger today than it was when we came in office. I remember someone calling our leader at the time, wasn't Prime Minister yet, dunce, because he said that we're going to pay by monthly salary. But guess what? We came in, and people are getting paid twice per month now. Just some weeks ago, the new leader of the opposition was saying that Grenadians, we make Grenadians think that they are getting the same salary twice every month. So in a sense, let me explain. If you're working for $2,000 a month, she said that we make people think that they were getting $2,000 on the 15th and $2,000 on the end of the month. Now, this year, I'm not laughing at it because this year is insulting to every Grenadian. We are not stupid. I remember again, we removed the tuition fee for NULO and TAMCC, which is 810 or so. And in doing so, the opposition was telling us, all sort of things against it. And I'm saying, if the cost to a parent is maybe $1,000, and 80% of that is tuition, and we are not taking out that from it, how can that be a bad idea? Let's go again. Cost-effective travel between Grenada and Carriacou. When we came in, we immediately consulted an airline, and now we have a 19-seater going back and forth to Carriacou weekly. Let's go again. Establishment of the creative economy. That came into being when we came in office. And we know the importance of the creative economy. This was some of the items we did in 2024 and beyond and before that. But what I want to focus on is the train moving forward. And me give some things to look forward to. But I already spoke about, we are looking at a 4.1% increase in GDP growth for the year 2025. That's something to be proud about. As an administration, we have invested over $3 million in geothermal energy and solar upgrades for 2025. In addition, we have allocated $10 million for Project 500. I will talk more about that during the questions and answers. As an administration, we have allocated $15 million for the Housing Soft Loan Program to help the ordinary citizens who cannot help themselves with housing. As an administration, we have allocated approximately $23.6 million in healthcare, $6.9 million for the blue economy, $44 million for Carriacou and PD Martinique. $32 million for agriculture. $183 million for education. If you take a tour now to some of the schools, you will see the deplorable condition they are in. And it didn't happen yesterday. So part of that budget is to ensure that we do construction to bring back the schools where it's supposed to be. $1.5 million for free tuition program. $7.5 million in concessions for families after Hurricane Beryl. New police headquarters. And the nearly completed works on various other police stations. Police stations were neglected for years, folks. We have a new pay and grade for the police officers, where an average police officer salary will now increase by approximately $700. I must mention minimum wage. Now, the now opposition, when we wanted to increase minimum wage, was telling the same people it's a bad idea. Because if we increase it, the companies will force to kick them out and they will lose their job. Imagine you're in the US here, working every day, 8-hour shift for $250 a month. That is what the opposition was telling people they should grab. You have Imani workers working for years in a program, not going anywhere. Years in a program, making $700 EC a month. We increase the Imani salaries when we increase the minimum wage. So no Imani, no one in Grenada is working for under $1,200 a month. Fellow Grenadians, our journey towards a brighter, stronger Grenada is well underway. And we need each and every one of you to join us on this transformative path. Whether you are at home or in the diaspora, your contribution matters. Together, we can build the Grenada we all deserve. One that strives, one that grows, and one that prospers. Let us focus on progress. Let me repeat that. Let us focus on progress and ignore the enemies of advancement who seek to divide us. We are stronger when we stand united, working side by side with determination and purpose. The time to act is now. Let us leave behind the naysayers and move Grenada forward with pride, unity, and vision. Together, we will shape our future and build a prosperous Grenada for generations to come. But folks, let us be honest. It will take more than 2.5 years to fix what has been broken for over 20 years. So when you hear them saying that healthcare should be fixed with a stroke of a pen, everything should be fixed with a stroke of a pen. Yes, we are not there yet with healthcare, but we are working on it. And they should be ashamed to have all this experience and letting these little boys come and put them to shame. So I want you to keep this in mind. We are working, but the best is yet to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Andy. Now, how informative was that? Another round of applause. And at this time, we'll ask Brother Michael to come and, or PRO, esteemed PRO, to facilitate the question and answers.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. Good night to everybody. And thank Brother Ron, Brother Andy for that informative dialogue. So now we come to the nitty-gritty of everything now. Now we are going to have you ask them questions. I do apologize that we don't have two microphones, so we're going to have to use this one. I'm going to walk around and come to you. You don't need to come to me. So you can line up on either side, no, in the middle here, fine, and I'll come to you. Frankie?
At least you remember my name there, buddy. How you doing? Good, 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 good. I am Frankie Mitchell from Leicester, Carriacou. How you doing, Andy? How you doing, my man? Good. I got a sort of to elaborate on a statement that you made, and then I got a question. During the speech, you said that about 24 hours prior to burial in Carriacou, Tevin got scared. I disagree with that. Highly disagree with that. Because Tevin stayed over at my house. That's right. And I had the opportunity to welcome him here prior to and 24 hours later. I had the opportunity to take him to the airport. And I will tell you, about 2 o'clock or probably 12 o'clock, he was concerned about his constituency in Carriacou. He never went to sleep until about 2 o'clock. And he got up about 4 o'clock, and I had to take him to the airport. And I think for some reason that's a man that is concerned. So the one is scared, I think is very concerned. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I heard they mention about labor, workmen in Carriacou. I think you said that about 3 or 4 times. And I think you had a trip to Grenada, and apparently yourself and Tevin was there. I was there with you guys, and you says that it's a possibility you guys should be doing some kind of a bilateral agreement with governments within the Caribbean in getting them workmen to Carriacou. Is that still a possibility? Please.
Thank you.
So when I say scared, if someone is scared, they wouldn't be going to. He was scared for Carriacou. So you're heading to Carriacou. So that's what I meant. Right? So that's the point. Number one. And number two, yes, we are looking at the possibility. As a matter of fact, one of our Caribbean leaders contacted our Prime Minister and offered labor to Grenada. But what we want to do first, we want to ensure that we exhaust the call, in Grenada for our people to get involved. Because although we may have to bring in people, we don't want to bring them in, and we have people here who can do the work. So we are making the calls everywhere I go. I'm saying we need workers. The last town hall Wednesday, we need workers. Come to my office. Go to the parliamentary office. We need workers. If you're a builder in Grenada now, the easiest thing to get is work, because we need workers. So if you have folks on the line from Grenada listening to me, if you have families in Grenada, tell them come check on the other office, come at the MIT office, offer yourself, and I can bet you if you come today, by Monday, Tuesday, you have work already. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Please.
Good evening, gentlemen. Mr. Moderator, I have 3 questions. Do I ask them? Okay. The first one is under tourism. I noticed that almost every event, large event, is held at the Botanical Gardens in Carriacou. I want to know if this is going to continue or if the Botanical Garden would be restored to what it's supposed to be, a botanical garden. That's the first question on the tourism. Second one is on the agriculture. I am from Carriacou, as you would understand. As a child, I hear you now, you said that agriculture would be a big thing in Carriacou. As a child, we had ponds and wells and big cisterns, catchment areas that we could have gotten water from. Excuse me. Agriculture depends on water. Yes, soil, but water. Carriacou doesn't get a lot of rain for the whole year. What is your plan, or what is the government's plan for reopening, recommissioning some of these wells, the ponds, and maybe the cisterns have gone too far? But what is being done water-wise for the agriculture? And the third question is on the education. I was a teacher for many, many years. I wouldn't say how many. I have always advocated that the government, from the first NDC back, should bond scholarship people, because that was the way it was. Now that you are targeting, you're not giving ad hoc scholarships. People are not going and study what they don't know about. You are sending people to study A, B, C, D. Is the government going to bond these people for at least 5 years so that they give back some of this knowledge to the country, to develop the country, rather than staying in America, staying in England, and everywhere else? Thank you.
Okay, well, let me see if I can do justice to your first 2 questions, and Minister, maybe you'll answer the second one, the third one. All right, so as it relates to tourism in Carriacou, yes, the minister in particular has plans to not just use the botanical gardens, and there's a plan that he has mobilized already with the new PS to be able to upgrade the botanical gardens in Carriacou Petit Martinique. That's one. 2, there is already the installation of the underwater sculpture park. That is going to enhance the tourism product for Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Thirdly, just last week I was speaking to Minister, and he was giving me a potential update on further discussions that he's going to have, not so much with the Sandals brand originally that we wanted to come, because again, the same challenge you raise, the question of water, the question of electricity, and the island's capacity to be able to sustain large tourism products and companies is very, very difficult. So what he said is that they are looking not so much on the high-end Sandals brand, but maybe a moderate or lower-end brand to be able to come to expand the critical thing, the room stock of tourism rooms in the island of Carriacou and by extension Petit Martinique. The second area that you spoke about had to do with the question of the water shortage, right? So let's dive into that. I know NAWASA is having a town hall meeting in Carriacou Petit Martinique soon. I don't recall the exact date, but it will be broadcast live. Minister, NAWASA, and the infrastructure team up there is looking feverishly to see how we can roll out initiatives, notwithstanding the traditional dry season issue, but post-Hurricane Beryl, the question of the desalination plants. Now, I want to say this, and it goes back to how this government sees disasters. When Hurricane Beryl struck and Cabinet sent me up to Carriacou, maybe about 2 mornings after we returned, the Samaritan Purse was able to construct a desalination plant throughout. Well, not a, but multiple. So I think there was one at the Turtle Bay end, and then there was one at up at Hillsborough. And so what that was able to do was, while we had shortages of water, people were able to use those plants, get water to bathe, etc., etc. And I'm talking from first-hand experience, because when you went up, you can't do nothing, so you had to use that. Now, we need to go that route. But the issue in Grenada is all of this bureaucracy. One of the things that this administration did was to break essentially this default monopoly that NAWASA had, where it was self-regulating its own self and also being the one to supply water. That was a mistake that we should not have been making. So we are now introducing a water management unit, where NAWASA's role is to ensure that it is meeting the standard of water that the people require and are paying for, and can supply, do all the things with the desal plant that is necessary. And the management unit manages water resources throughout the entire country. Separating that is going to enhance the ability for Carriacou and Petite Martinique to start having a well-regulated water system that hinges on the basis of desalination. So I can tell you this from first hand, because those discussions are ongoing. But these discussions been going on almost 30 years now about desalination plan for Carriacou and Petite Martinique. The difference is you have a transformative team and we're going to get the job done.
And to add to what Brother Ron has just said, that we have procured a second desalination plant for Carriacou. So you have one, you have the other. Now you're specifically asked about the wells. Yes, no problem, no problem. We heard you loud and clear. I heard you loud and clear, right? Now I cannot speak to you about the wells and ponds now, but I can speak to you about the plans we have to increase the water supply in Carriacou. And that is why our Prime Minister immediately after Beryl put things in place to add one more plant for Carriacou and Petite Martinique. So that's one. In addition, you mentioned about the bonding. Let me just mention something before I go to the bonding. What we are doing now in the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor combined, we see some people are going to study things and get scholarship for areas that does not really benefit the country. So what we are doing is that we are looking and see what are the areas that we are providing work permits for, to see where we have the void. And we will be channeling our scholarships to those areas. If we do that, it means that we can lessen on the amount of people coming outside to get jobs in Grenada, and our people can be the one accessing those jobs. So we are doing that. And yes, as a cabinet, we have already started to put the heavy roller down on people who we give scholarships to and never come back, right? We have made decisions that where people ask for, a release, and we said no. It's either you pay or you come back. Yeah, so we are putting our foot down on that.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Before I take the question, let me just tell you about a time-honored Grenadian practice. That is the practice of passing the hat. So whatever you can give a generous donation to us, because we do have some costs. I had to ask for the money. So we're going to pass around the hat, and we'll continue with the question and answer period. You had a question? Please.
Hi, good evening. I happened to be in Carriacou right after Hurricane Beryl. I happened to be in Carriacou right after Hurricane Beryl, and I recognized there was an element missing in the post-hurricane assistance, management, and that was health. I missed some of the presentation, so I don't know what your plans are for health, But I do feel that in Carriacou, I don't know in the mainland, there is a need for a lot of health education and a lot of community outreach in health. Because I remember after the hurricane, many people were in shelters, many people had lost the medications, and there was nobody reaching for them. And it took about 3 weeks before people from the Ministry of Health showed up and was going out. And I know the hospital was damaged. The people were at the clinic in Hillsborough. I know everybody was under pressure, but I feel that some of the staff were not sensitive to the needs of the elderly people. I remember one man dying in somebody else's house because his house was destroyed. And despite approaching them for someone to go and see him or to care for him, nobody went. And there was another gentleman who was old, was in his house, laying down. What they were told that this man needed somebody, and nobody from the health department went. People who were in NADMA, who knew about it, happened to rescue him. And I think that is not something that is appropriate. And I'm wondering going forward, what plans are in place for post-disasters in terms of health management? Something we need to examine. Can you give us some insight on that?
Thank you.
Yeah, very good observation and question. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I recalled your face coming up in Carriacou after burial in truth. So I know that you're speaking firsthand. Well, let me say this. In speaking with the disaster management managers at the time post-Hurricane Beryl, we concluded that there is a natural 2-week chaos that emerges after every significant disaster. And so the nurses, they themselves were also focused on their homes. Some of them even lost family members. We know that or knew that for a fact. And most of their workplaces were in total destruction. However, what the Hurricane Beryl experience taught us was that we need to have a disaster plan, not just focusing on if and when the hurricane comes, but what will we do immediately after. And so I want to openly say here, and the minister himself for Carriacou and Petite Martinique, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, will talk more about that in the future, but it was almost non-existent in terms of responding to Hurricane Beryl for Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And so essentially they built it from the ground up. And I want to give the team in Carriacou, in particular the NADMA team, that specific research and rescue mission that you're talking about was as a result of the cabinet's direct intervention to say to the NADMA operatives that notwithstanding that they themselves may have been affected, that we need to ensure that we go out, and the minister himself go out and rescue the elders that were entrapped and on the ground in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And I must say that there was an element of a bit of stubbornness to some, because we went to some people in Windward. The gentleman lost his entire roof, but he did not want to leave. And so it was this affinity to his home. So we had to understand that. But we did try to, return, follow up, etc. And so the challenge, Grenada on a whole as well, when Hurricane Ivan struck, essentially, it was clear to every Grenadian, because my family sent on a generator, and I yet to receive the generator even today since Hurricane Ivan. But it was clear to everyone that from a response capacity, that Grenada, even from Ivan to even Beryl, was just not there. So let me tell you what we did in this last budget. We have now included a fee to pay district NADMA coordinators, pay them. This thing about volunteering is a thing of the past. You need paid people who can help and assist to mobilizing and responding to post-disasters whenever they strike. So that is now included. And the Honorable Prime Minister had the vision to include that. The second element is that the structure of NADMA is now transitioned into a statutory board, not just some little department in a ministry, but a statutory board that can be able to effectively build the resources and respond to disasters, whatever they are. And so the need for us now to get your input from the diaspora, because I'm certain some of you have seen greater disasters than Hurricane Beryl and may have some element of understanding. What are the things that we need to do, although we are small back home, to help enhance our capacity to be able to respond? But I can tell you this, that Carriacou Petit Martinique experience is one, while it's for the record books, but one that this administration in particular has learned and has been able to put concrete steps and plans of actions in place to be able to mitigate in future disasters.
Thank you, thank you. Any other questions? I'm not hearing from this side of the room now. What happened to Marvin?
Good evening, everyone. It's not burial related, but it's a healthcare question. I have a question regarding amputations on the island. We have a lot of diabetics at home, and before they, as soon as they get a wound or an area, instead of us trying to heal that area, we amputate. We don't look at the patients, what they did before, how they were, you know, how they were able to get around before, but we just like to amputate. I think we should try to change the focus and focus more on healing these wounds instead of amputating people's limbs. Because we can't even get prosthetic legs at home. So they have no way of getting around. So that's my, what'd you say? So that is my issue.
Thank you very much. Ron, you want to say?
All right, so yeah, and that's true. But you know, just like COVID-19, before I respond directly to the question, the health of an individual must be, first and foremost, I believe, a personal responsibility. That's one. But hear me out, it is not to chide the question or observation. The Honorable Prime Minister last year, I don't recall the exact date right now, but visited the island of Cuba and was able to see firsthand the treatment that Cuba has developed for treating ulcers, this whole question of amputation, etc. And did announce that we may tap into it. Now, I want to be politically correct, so I don't want to say anything that could get us into trouble. But the need for the region to improve its capacity in health-related preventative methods is critical, because we do not have the resources to be able to treat with some of the larger diseases, chronic diseases, illnesses, etc. Now, we have to almost respond to most of these. We have to remember the capacity of the General Hospital in Grenada, the capacity of the district medical stations in Grenada needs to be improved. But if the workers are working in deplorable conditions, if the nurses ain't getting paid, if they're not permanent, of course, no, they ain't taking no chicken, I could guarantee that. We ain't supporting that. We stand for our nurses and our doctors. But if they are not being adequately compensated, then the question of responding to some of these illnesses becomes an afterthought, because they are more almost consumed with the difficulties that they have for themselves. And so this administration took a deliberate step, one, to ensure that we compensated the nurses and doctors. $500 nurses, $1,000 doctors, honorarium. But we didn't just stop at the honorarium, but we continued it. And hopefully the aim and intention is to increase their pay permanently so that it becomes a permanent fixture. The second thing is that with the regularization process that is currently ongoing with the Department of Public Administration, the expectation is that we are going to, in 2025, regularize nurses, and some of the other auxiliary medical staff. This, we believe, in addition to the management team that has been put in place to be able to manage, one, the transition of the general hospital into a statutory entity. And folks, I want to say this, that the law was very clear and deliberate for the general hospital. The general hospital, as is now, is not in conformity with the legislation that is backing it, meaning that it was passed, the general hospital was supposed to be statutorized many moons ago, and they have not done so. This administration has now laid that on the table and will be doing this by the end of 2025. What this will do is to begin the process to lift the quality and standard. The VIKEVI approach, the approach which says, that is not my business, government go pay for that, etc., that has to be a thing of the past. But it is going beyond what we currently have, because where the current hospital is situated, there are some challenges. You have the whole question of the sea blast, which is rusting all of the stainless steel equipment, etc. So when you take your hard-earned cash or you mobilize your family and so on, and you donate some of these things, they are ultimately destroyed. Unfortunately so, because of where this hospital is located. So we are moving and constructing a new state-of-the-art Project Polaris Hospital. We have already secured the lands in Calavini, and the intention is that we are going to have the question of below the capacity for medical tourism. So your concern is deeply rooted in the concern all of us have. I lost my grandmother at the General Hospital, and I lost my father at the General Hospital. No, it was under the former administration, and note well, I didn't play politics with it, but it was very hurtful. The year before the government change, I almost lost my son. So that when I say I ain't having it. So I remember meeting with the pediatric team at the time. I served as a senator, and we were able to get some clear directives and understanding, and they worked magic. That's why I always often say that oftentimes when you have difficulties and deaths at the general hospital, it is due to complications. It is not always a deliberate act of neglect. And so it comes back to the original point. We have to take responsibility for our health. But I agree with your observation, and we are working on it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me just make a point. Right? I'll make 2 points. Because I was speaking to a mother some days ago who said that her daughter, who studied in SGU, was planning to come back to Grenada to assist in the healthcare sector. But no, she's coming to the US instead. Why? Because she understands that the doctors get paid $3,000 per month. So imagine having to go and study years. I mean, I studied business 4 years. But when you're studying to be a doctor, it's more, and the cost is a lot more. So one of the reasons why we had to statutorize the hospital is because we need to enhance the pay for our doctors and nurses. That's number one. Number two, the plan for a teaching hospital was there by the previous NDC administration since 1995. Since 1995, the plan for a teaching hospital was there. Imagine we have St. George's University, one of the top universities in the world. Our healthcare sector is suffering like this. It's a shame. It's a shame. So what we are doing is not just building a new hospital. No, we are building a teaching hospital. So that when these students have to go abroad and do their practicals, they can do it in Grenada. What's the result? The result is that we can have the experience, or we can have the services of these students who are going abroad to do their practicals. And we can benefit from that as a country and as a nation. So I'm saying there are times, yes, we understand that healthcare is not where it's supposed to be. But just think about it. It's difficult to fix, as I said in the speech. something that has been broken for over 20 years, 30 years, fix it in 2 years, 2.5 years. It's impossible. But it means that we have work to do, and we will try. As Gary said, the difficult will take a little longer, and impossible something, but we will try, right? But if you ask me, in building the new hospital, we are also engaging the people who's coming to build to also work on the existing one. Because a new hospital wouldn't take 1 year to build or 2 years to build. So while we're working on the new, we are working on the existing one so what people can benefit. That's the plan.
We have people in the back here. Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Mitchell, Canadian by birth. It's the first time meeting you guys. Yes, the good Mitchell. It's no question. I have no question, but I just want to commend you guys for the good work that you all are doing. I've been following you guys on Facebook and everything. You're very popular. I love that. This one I do not know, but keep doing the good work that you guys are doing. God bless you.
Thank you. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. These guys miserably.
Hi, good night, everyone. I just want the ministers, I'm not speaking hard enough. Good night, everyone. I would just like the ministers to reiterate, when you say a teaching hospital and you use the word there that not everybody understand, please let them know that the Calavini Hospital, they will also have to have their card and pay at that hospital. Is it a free hospital? Okay, this is the thing. No, this is the thing, right? That's one. And my next thing is that Mr. Rudhead had said, just like how NOWASA is being regulated because they were regulating themselves. I have always said that in Grenada, when I go there, or we all go, a case of beer is the same price as a case of water, right? I always say this, you know this, and I want to know why. So I said the water is coming straight from the springs for free. Carib has to employ a whole company, right? Why it is we're saying the same price of water and beer. So people choose to spend money on a case of beer than buy water in Grenada, right? Yes, they do, right? Right? Next. Yes. I'm not talking loud enough. And okay, and the next thing that we are speaking about is the fact that Mr. Andy was saying that they're going to start construction on the new bridge in October, which is rainy season, right? So what's the name of it? The Balcazar Bridge, right? Which is rainy season. So I just was thinking that, just think about it, that we could push it up a little, even if it's just the digging part of it, because that's what you need when you're going to start. Just saying.
Okay, I'm going to come 1 minute.
The question I want to ask is the jet bridge. How soon is the jet bridge going to be ready? So when I come off the plane, my hair is not going to get wet. That's my question. I've been campaigning for that jet bridge since Keith was in power. So it's very important to me. People with long hair.
Thank you.
Right. So I wouldn't answer Balthazar nor the jet bridge knowledge, but let me just answer the question about the water and the simple answer is volume. Now, the thing about it is, you said that people choosing to buy beer than water. The government could only reach so far in terms of people's private life. That's one. However, going back to the same point, we need to start taking responsibility. But the state has an obligation too to encourage the question of community health education. And the good sister just reminded me of that, because I think that is an important element to the whole question of healthcare. We are not just saying build a new hospital and everything will be okay. But we as a collective have a responsibility to contribute to our collective health in the country. And so I often choose either to drink a malt over a beer. But I do patronize, let's be honest here. However, however, you have an obligation to take your personal health as your responsibility. And so my message would be, because Grenada is known for a lot of good things, but one of the things that we think there is an area of concern with is the question of alcohol consumption. The government cannot just unilaterally intervene in something like that. You need different elements of society, the community centers need to start educating our people on consumption patterns. And that, again, will take some time. But generally, you raised a very good observation. We consume too much alcohol, and then we go to the general hospital and we say, they're killing us, they're doing other things, when we ourselves need to start taking responsibility for our health.
Right. So when it comes to healthcare, let me just explain something. I want you to get it tonight, right? I want you to get it. Even before you go to the hospital, we have the primary healthcare, the community centers, the medical centers. And what we are doing, starting from next month, MIT, the Ministry to Get Things Done, and the Ministry of Health will be starting a program, working to tackle the issues at all the medical centers. If we can strengthen the medical centers, we also have a project called the OECS Regional Health Project. And that project, again, is aimed at strengthening and increasing capacity at the medical centers. If we can better the services and improve the standard at the community level medical centers, it means that we can limit the amount of patients that gets to the hospital, number one. Number two, the hospital will be a statutory body. And we will have, it will be coupled with NHI, National Health Insurance. There was a company before who was working on it since the last administration time, and we thought it was taking too long. So we ended the contract, and now we will have someone else coming in to provide the service for us. The idea is that when we have the hospital, when we standardize the hospital, we need to pay for the services, and the National Health Insurance will cover that, right? And that's the essence of it. So that's the whole idea. Number one, we try to limit the amount of people that goes there by strengthening the health centers. If you look in my constituency, the medical center in Granans, in the south, which has the most people in its constituency, we have a downstairs for a medical center, right? Somebody apartment downstairs is our medical center. Now, what I've done, we had the old license center building in Dusty Highway. That building was affected by Ivan. It was left to be dilapidated. When you go inside there, it was a dump. So the whole building, the front of the building, that's where the police and so will have you come and do the exams for your written. And then when you go inside, in the back of the building, the inside of it, like here. Okay, so like this small room there is where the police use. And this whole building here, in the back here, was just old stuff, right? Old machine, old this, old that. Vagrants coming there, all kind of thing. So what we did is that I brought the Minister of Health there. We cleaned it up. We took out all the stuff. We covered the roof, right? Right now we are working on the windows. But the idea is to refurbish the building. It's a big building, more than 5,000 square feet. It's a big building. And what we can do now is to move the is healthcare, is skills training, is housing, and it's energy. But healthcare is number one. And you see us having something called a deficit budget by the opposition making a big thing about. And I'll explain that because I wouldn't leave you to wonder what a deficit budget is. But, and that's because we see the need to invest in certain places in Grenada. As I said, healthcare, education, housing, and energy. If you want to do serious business in Grenada, we have to look at the cost of energy. It is just too expensive. Number one. Number two, you have children going to school. And everyone is being taught the same thing. When some of them I keep doing the same thing over and over again. It has to change. Yeah? So that is why. No, let me explain what is called a deficit budget, because since I mentioned it, I want to explain it. Now, in the last budget presentation, we were speaking about that. We had a big debate in Parliament. And I'm someone who will tell it to you straight. I don't believe in fooling the people. I tell it to you straight what it is. So when I see people playing games with people, I cannot get offended. You know, I feel away. Because sometimes you don't know better. And someone will just come and just feed you with something. So according to how the government works, the government income, and you have expenses. When you manage the expenses from the income, then you will get a current surplus or deficit. In our case, our income that we expect was more than the expenses. So we had a current account sub $86.5 million. What that means, let me explain to you what that means. Inspector Elymus Gilbert, if you're working and you're making $5,000 a month, but your expense, your rent, your food, your gas, everything, if it comes up to $2,000 a month, it means that your revenue is $5,000, but your expense is $2,000. Therefore, you are making a surplus of $3,000 a month. But if for the year, 3,000 by 12 months is 36,000. So the year you will make an income of $36,000. That's your current account surplus for the year. But if you say you want to invest in capital expenditure means a house, a car, something of a capital nature. It means now if you want to get a house for $100,000, for the year, you will be having a deficit because your income for the year is $36,000, but your expense for the house is $100,000. It means that you will be making an overall deficit of $64,000. That means now, if you go to the bank, you will get a loan. You know why? Because you have the ability to pay. It means that, let's say your payback is $100,000. It will take you 3 years to pay back for it. And after that, you continue to have your surplus again. So that's all what happens. So the fact that you are making your revenue or your income is able to meet your recurring expenditure means that you are making a current account surplus, and that's what's important. Now, if you want to invest in the country to uplift the country now, you must invest in CapEx, or it's called capital expenditure. That's what it is. So I just wanted to explain that.
Thank you. We have some people over here.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. And when I ask questions, people like to ask me, why didn't ask Kit Mitchell that? Please don't ask me that tonight. And that's my good partner here. We go way back. When I compose, he used to be the man writing in the back of the album, eating better and everything. Good man. Something happened recently, and I know it could happen to any one of us. And I follow it a lot. I don't know if the government heard about it. And for the people who don't know, I'm going to mention it, so you could be careful. There is a woman from Barbados. She went to Barbados with 2 passports, her Bajan passport and her citizenship. I think when she came back here, they took her passport from her. That's the US passport, and they sent her back. Now, I personally just do it. A lot of Grenadians just do it. So I just mentioning it in case the government heard about it. So if it's illegal, we could be careful. Because I'm telling you something, to work hard for a US passport is not easy. Yeah, who know? Well know. Yeah, and the majority of us are dual citizenship. So I just mentioning it. For those who never heard about it, you have to be careful. Yeah? Or something more into it than just that? Because I find, yes, if you have something more into it, I don't know, but I wanted to mention it because I myself have dual citizenship. Thank you.
Okay. Hang on. Take it down a bit.
I just have a question for Inspector, right? Inspector, one question for you. Why didn't I ask Mitchell that?
Okay. Hold on a minute.
I don't have a question, but could you permit me to make a statement? Okay. Now, I applaud this new government for the things that it has done in the past 2.5 years. They did a lot. I want to say another thing. The Bible said to love your enemy, but it never said to strengthen your enemy. I don't see no part in it says strengthen your enemy. And what I think this new government is doing, instead, they're not only loving the enemy, but they're strengthening the enemy. And the enemy, this strength, the enemy taking and beat them back with it. And it's not a good thing. In my view, it's not a good thing. Now, what I want, my advice, the advice I could have for all of this new government, the MP that in the different village, instead of giving the opposition the $10,000, double it with the other MP so they could do more. Because there is all about people. That's number one. Number two, all you're spending $120,000 to the opposition that not doing nothing a year. So all you're doing $600,000 in 5 years. Then all you're doing $3 million between the whole 5 of them, including Peter, for the same 5 years. $3 million. You all know what $3 million could do in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique? Why are you doing that? Are you so nice for that? Kate Mitchell never nice. Kate Mitchell give them $1,200. That's what he been getting for the rest of their life. Kate Mitchell giving these people $300. That's what he been giving them. I'm giving them $500, and they think $500 is less than $300, but still talking about the $300 when I look at them $5, because he poisoned the mind already. And I want to give all you a little story of a woman. a woman. She have 2 girl children. All you have this good program, free tuition program. You know what the woman said? I'm not sending my 2 girl children in this program because it's an NDC program. A woman said that. Kate poisoned her mind already. So I asking all you, the NDC new government, to change your strategy and take away this money away from them. Go into parliament, put a law, or you could take back the money. Also, don't give them no new car here, don't give them new cars. Don't give them no new cars to drive all because they will bounce down all with it. That's no that's the thing. They will bounce all with it next. Okay? So that's my advice for all you, this young NDC, wonderful, vibrant, smart people. Keep doing what you are doing and have all your heads up and don't strengthen all your enemy, because enemy is enemy and enemy would not change, but all you could love them.
Right. So, lovely point, lovely point, lovely point. But I want to tell you all this, right? I want to tell you all this. That's not how government works. Now, if we are trying to practice tribal politics, yes, we can do that. But that's not how government works. You have the parliament. You have the MP offices. You cannot give 9 or 10 and don't give the others. Right? That's the law. So we cannot say because it's the opposition, we want to kill them, so let me don't do it. No, that's not how it works. Now we understand politically, you may want that. Right? We may want it too. But that's not how it works. If it doesn't matter who is there, if you are giving the MP offices $10,000 a month, you have to give all. You cannot give some and don't give the others. Right? You cannot do it. Number one. Number two, but as NDC supporters, what is the problem? These people had millions of dollars up to 2022 and they still lost the election. So what you scared about? Right? What you scared about? Right? That's number two. Number three, folks, yes, we may be young, but we also have to be wise in our doings. We understand as supporters, you want us to kill them. But we have, yes, hold on. But it's not that we are naive. We have to follow the law of the land. If we do otherwise, we will not be following the law of the land. Do you want us to break the law? Right? In the whole thing of saying let's cripple them? That's not the way. You see, that's not the way. And every month, all of us have to account to the parliament on how we spend the money. If we do not account to the parliament, we will not get. In September, I don't have the time, or my office manager did not have the time to fill up the report. We did not get. No problem. Let's do it in order, folks. Let's do it in order. This is not, we are not having a thing back on, Let's do it in order. Now, the fact that the Prime Minister did not get, it's a technical issue with the finance department in the Ministry of Finance and the Prime Minister, which they told him he needed certain requirements to get the funds. And he said, according to the law, he don't need that. Right? So that's the case. It's not a case where someone trying to spy the Prime Minister. So let me just clear the air on that. Sometimes, folks, we can't get too caught up emotionally with the politics that we tend to do things that may not make sense and may not benefit the whole country as a whole. Yeah. So as government ministers, even though you're not an MP, we have in our social development budget over $500,000. I'm an MP. I have the $10,000 a month, but I have over $500,000 in the Ministry of Social Development that I can access to help my people. I have over $1 million in the Ministry of Social Development to help with housing and bathroom and toilet. The opposition does not have that. So I'm saying, you're looking at $10,000 a month, but we have more than 10 times that we can impact the people of Greater Carriacou and Peter Martinique that they don't have. So, we have to put it in perspective, and let's not just get carried away because we want to cripple somebody, because sometimes you try to cripple someone and you get crippled in the process. So be wise.
Right. Very well said, Minister. And I just want to add, colleagues, let me just say this and say this loud and clear. I think in June 2022, we ushered in a new era, a new generation. And it's time to change our mindset and lift the standard of politics in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. That is one. Two, the gentleman did raise some very important observations. But as Minister is saying, were we to continue this tribal politics, I am telling you, we're not going anywhere. What I want to implore upon the New York chapter is to continue to call on the opposition members of parliament to account openly on how they are spending the $10,000. That is an obligation that they have, not just to us as government, but to the parliament and the people that they represent. And so it must not be a concern of not giving them the money. They must account for the $10,000. And so if we use that method and mechanism, we could be able to get the objective that we need. That is one. Two, we need to ensure that when we implement policies, we are not only doing it on the basis of NDC and NNP. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Notwithstanding the representatives who are elected in the four now? Thing real bad, but in the four constituencies of the opposition. Notwithstanding that they are opposition means that they do not have people who have difficulties, who do not need assistance with medication, means that they do not have people in the constituencies that need help. And so the obligation and responsibility of the parliament to a member of parliament is to be able to provide the ability to meet, in that initial sense, some of those assistances and requests that constituents give. So this policy essentially is about people. The Honorable Prime Minister, when he came in, said that he was shocked that a member of parliament under the former administration got absolutely nothing directly, and the meager salary was what they would use to buy the medication, to assist Mary Jane, to assist Storm Jones, and to assist people in the constituency. So no wonder why they had to go and set up companies. No wonder why they had to go and do all kinds of things, because there was no system. This administration, under 2 years, changed that and ensured that we budgeted some resources that Parliament could be able to allocate that $10,000. So we must never put politics in it, because this essentially is about people. The second point that I want to make is on the basis of vehicles. Now, I hear all you, and the government hear all you. So what we are saying, however, is that this is about serving the community. is not to give me or the opposition members of parliament a vehicle to add to their asset base. Again, continue to call on them to account, continue to call on them to do their work, and if they can't do the job, whenever the general election is called, you know what to encourage your family and friends in the various constituencies to do. However, we must provide every constituency with the opportunity to serve, or for the members of parliament to serve their constituencies. So we have to be realistic about this. This is a gentleman's conversation. So forget that they are opposition. Let's focus on whether or not the constituency is adequately serviced and what are the needs to be able to service the constituency. And so if we start to get into the realm of choosing and picking and choosing, that is going back to the past, and we are in the present, but we aim to move forward. We do not want to repeat the mistakes of the past, because 20 years later, those selfish mistakes and choosing who get what and so on is turning out to haunt us. So let us focus on moving forward. So we accept, ladies and gentlemen, we accept that everybody would not be in full support of all members of parliament getting the allowance and the vehicles. However, that is the power of the people. We have a responsibility to serve, and leaders do not quiver and cower at the sign of every dissent. What we have to do is to say to you genuinely how we see this. This is not about the A member of parliament or a party. This is about the people in the various constituencies who need to serve. And then when a good member of parliament emerges in those constituencies, that same vehicle, that same $10,000 a month will be able to be utilized to help the people in those areas. And we hope it's an NDC member of parliament.
Thank you, thank you. All good things must come to an end, and I'm gonna give. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to give everybody a chance to network with the ministers who Mr. Andy is going on to Canada, and I don't want to be unreasonable. First and foremost, I want to thank you, all of you who came out here today and who gave generously to us. We've collected by the hat donation about $700. So give yourself a round of applause for that. Thank you, thank you. The NDC New York chapter thanks you profusely. Mr. Williams, Brother Ron, thank you for this fine conversation. It's long in coming. I hope that this is going to continue over a period of time. I'm asking you on behalf of the people. And I'm going to now hand it over to Chair Cox so he can close us out. So you will get a chance. Oh, the ladies in the back is going to kill me if I didn't say it. There is potato pudding for sale in the back. I think it's $20 for the tray. You can, y'all guys laughing at me. Yeah, so you can, at the back, you can see the ladies at the back. There's potato pudding. There's food there. Let me hand back now to Chair Nick Cox so he can close us out. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brother Mike. Yeah, the little cake and so on in the plates, and I think they're free, but I understand that there's potato pudding for sale. That's a premium stuff in New York. Right, we want to thank the excess of 300 people that were viewing online. Thank you for taking the time to listen and understand what's happening and understand what type of government we have in Grenada now. It's not the government of the past with victimization and being vindictive and so on, but it's a government for the people. We put people first. So that's one of our slogans, putting people first, regardless of what constituency you live in. So anyhow, so this come to the end. We started a little late. We went some extra time to ensure that everybody gets a good chance to interact with the MPs. And just to close it off, we'll hear from Brother Andy.
Thank you very much. So as we near the end of what has been a truly enriching and productive town hall meeting. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you who joined us here today. Whether you have been in New York for years or just arrived recently, your presence here is a testament to the strength, unity, and spirit of the Grenadian people. When I look around this room, I see just more than faces. I see a community, a family, and Grenadians who, no matter what or where life has taken us, have never lost our connection to one another and to our homeland. You are the bridge between Grenada and the world. And the connection is something we must cherish and nurture. I want to leave you with some thoughts about unity. Because as founding leaders have shown us, it is through unity that we can overcome any obstacle and achieve the progress we seek. Maurice Bishop, one of Grenada's greatest leaders, once said, "We are all bound together by the same principle of love and respect for each other. And we must always strive to work together to make our country a better place for all." And when we talk about progress, let us remember the words of Sir Eric Machugeri, who once said, "We must always strive to build a better, more prosperous nation by working with dedication and commitment to the ideals of freedom, democracy, and justice." Before we close, I want to once again express my deepest gratitude for your participation, your voices, your input, and your presence are incredibly valuable. I also want to remind you of the power we hold when we stand together. We may be separated by distance, but our connection to Grenada is unbreakable. As we close tonight, I leave you with one last thought from Maurice Bishop, who said, "The people of Grenada have the capacity to shape their own destiny. The power is in your hands." Let us remember that power is not just about politics. It's about community. It's about working together, supporting one another, and building the Grenada we all dream of. Thank you, New York, for your continued support, your passion, and your dedication. Together, we will continue to make Grenada a beacon of hope, prosperity, and unity for generations to come. Safe travels home. I look forward to continuing this journey with all of you, but first, I must food. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. So get home safe, everyone. For some of the young strong men in the back who took chairs and placed it in different locations, we would like you to return it to the spot where you get it, where you got it, so that the landlords would be happy in the morning. Take a piece of cake on the way out, buy some potato pudding, and listen to as they come up. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, follow our website on the internet, and we always thank you for your continued support. Good night.